Catherine McLean, founder and CEO of Dylan Green, and today I have with me Doseke Akporiaye, joining us from Brooklyn, New York, my old stomping grounds. So welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Catherine, for having me.
Doseke has just joined WRISE as the new executive director. So congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So a bit about myself and WRISE.
Sure.
WRISE, Women in Renewable Industries and Sustainable Energies. I joined as the executive director, and I am just blown away by the organization and just work that has been done by the team that has built it up to this stage. WRISE, our goal at WRISE is really to increase the participation and representation of women, excluded genders and communities within the renewable energy space and the sustainable energy space. And we try to develop programs that support our stakeholders, be them individuals or corporates, to just ensure that they're pushing the DEIJ agenda, and that the growth and the opportunities within the space is being accessible by all people, and they're all benefiting from it, and building a more equitable, clean economy. So that's what.
So what are some of the things that you're going to be looking forward to over the next few years?
So, I mean, that's another great question. I think the biggest thing for us is just the IRA and the opportunities that it brings. What we've seen is the industry has just expanded, is continuing to expand. And when we even look at when we first started and the profile of the companies that we interacted with and dealt with and tried to develop programs around, that has changed. While the developers, the EPCs, and the technical aspects of the business is still critical, but we find a lot more companies that are coming in, legal companies, finance companies, companies that are specializing even in niches within the space. And all of them have their different needs. DEIJ means different things to them. And so I think our biggest excitement is being able to take a step back and say, how can we also evolve and grow, within the industry and ensure that the opportunities that the IRA provides is, all the our stakeholders, can benefit, can access, are aware of it, and maximize it. And so for us in WRISE, one of the things that we want to look at is we've done a great job in supporting individuals at entry level and mid-career level. These individuals have grown. So imagine people that joined WRISE 5-10 years ago. I mean, some of them are now senior people. Some of them are now in the C-suites, covering multiple countries. So how do we build programs that are supportive of these people and support them as on their career path and growth within the industry? I think that is one area that we're going to be looking at that is going to be interesting. The other thing is for the corporates that have come in, we want to be able to develop more sector-specific programming for our corporate stakeholders. So we have some programming that supports the technical side, but what about the other aspects of the other businesses that we're seeing within the space? They all have DEIJ needs, and we want to be able to develop programming around it. The other key thing is sustainability. We want to there's so much activity going on in sustainability with hydrogen, with batteries, with just, so many different aspects coming up and looking at how do we, get to net zero and sustain it. So we want to be able to participate more in that and play a leadership role in that aspect. And also critical is, people come to us saying, we believe we keen into DEIJ. We just don't know how to go about it within our organizations. Do you have best practices? How can you support us? So we want to be able to take all the different experiences we've had in dealing with these organizations and be able to start looking at best practices, white papers to support, our community so that, they can develop more inclusive policies and practices within their respective companies. So those are the things that we're looking at right now and we're excited about at WRISE.
What do you think are some of the greatest benefits that RISE provides? So both for those looking to transition into clean energy and those who are already in clean energy.
So again, I'll use myself as an example. Even though I was in renewable energy, I was working with a social enterprise that looked at residential solar for low income and middle income households, deploying those solar solutions. I transitioned into a nonprofit role from a for-profit role. And if my experience within the community is anything to go by, then this is something that other people can leverage on. What I've experienced within the community is a lot of genuine support, a lot of people that are truly interested in your success. They are
Mhm.
vested in your success. They make the time to ensure that you get all the support that you need. They open up their network to connect you to people. They don't judge you when you're learning. They understand that you need to learn. They're patient with you as you learn, and they help you. They provide the resources for you to be able to learn. And I
Yeah.
think these experiences, just from my own perspective, is a reflection of what RISE does. So one thing we do is our job boards. With our job boards, as a corporate, you have the opportunity to post multiple job openings. So for people who are transitioning into the industry, they have access to those job boards. We do virtual career fairs and in-person career fairs at the majority of the trade association events each year. In fact, we have a virtual career fair next week on the 23rd, and we have over 400 job seekers already signed up for it. So for people who are looking to transition, this provides an opportunity for them to meet potential employers. So having knowledge and access to where the opportunities are is critical, and RISE provides that platform for that.
Mhm.
The second thing, when you now know that these are the opportunities, so sometimes you feel you don't have the skills.
Yeah.
Sometimes you actually don't have the skills. So how do you now skill up to be able to
Right.
take advantage of it? So our webinars offer that opportunity for you to be able to learn, to get skills, to be able to develop yourself in whatever area that you're interested in. And the way we run it also, if there are interests in specific areas that people want to learn, we would organize a webinar around it so that people can learn. But more importantly, we have peer and one-on-one mentoring that we offer our members, so that you can actually talk to someone with a similar background, a similar journey, a similar experience, learn, about what their journey has been, the challenges, the struggles, the successes, in a very non-judgmental way, and I think that is something critical that RISE does in terms of transitioning. One other thing we do is our fellowship program. So our fellowship program, such as the Wind at Our Back scholarship, specifically for people who are pursuing wind technician certification, we normally have people that want to pivot from their existing careers into the renewable energy space. So this is an opportunity for them to get a scholarship from RISE. And when they get that scholarship, there's a bit of programming that we do, but we now take them to the trade events, the ACP event, the RE Plus events, so that they can actually meet people within the space and be able to learn from those events, see the opportunities, and match with people. In fact, we've had several success stories of companies that have come up to us to say, "Oh, we hired two of your fellows,
Mhm.
three of your fellows." So
Yeah.
the fellowship program is something that is great for transitioning. And
Yeah.
like I said, the community in general is authentic,
Yeah.
and they're genuinely interested in your success.
One of the things I like most about RISE is the locality of it. So I love that there's like a DMV, Mid-Atlantic sort of RISE meetup. And I love that there's a New York one, and there's
Yes.
like an Austin one and a Boston one, and I think it's I know some of them are more active than others, but there's nothing that I just feel so good when I talk to a candidate and they're like, what do I do? Who do I talk to? And I'm like, you're in Austin. You're in like one of the best RISE places. You're Becky Diffin in
Yeah.
Austin. Call Becky, get involved with RISE.
Yeah.
So I think if we can encourage other like cities and municipalities to like really embrace like the local piece of it, you know?
Yes. So yeah,
Great.
a great point. RISE has chapters across the US. We have over 40 plus chapters across the US.
Yeah.
Like some more active than others, but
Yeah.
it allows you to connect at a local level. It allows you to organize yourself at a local level. It allows you to do programming at a local level that are important to you. And, I have to give a shout out to those great chapters that are doing such an awesome job. Chicago chapter, Seattle chapter, Colorado chapter, San Diego chapter. There's so many of those chapters that are just doing a great job. And I want to thank all our volunteers because, without them, we would not be able to make this happen at the local level, at the chapter level. So yes, that is another way that you can actually connect.
I want to talk about your transition into clean energy. You previously worked in areas like computer programming, HR, management consultancy. Tell me how you wound up getting into clean energy.
Okay, so I think like donkey years ago, I was a computer programmer.
Yeah.
At that time, I didn't want to be a techie. Maybe now it would be different if I had to now, who knows? But I kind of like the human interaction. I like that whole process of listening to people, understanding their pain points, their needs, and then trying to meet those needs. So I quickly transitioned into strategy consulting because that allowed me to do that. Plus, with consulting, you travel a lot, and that's one of the things I like doing, traveling.
Yeah.
And so I did that for a couple of years. I started my own consulting firm, an entrepreneurial consulting firm. I supported startups, C-suite founders, boards to essentially either set up their business from ideation to scale up, where capital could be deployed into the organizations. And that was great. But I got to a stage where I started asking myself that surely, like there's more to life than just, doing a job and earning income. And I wanted to I really believed that you could use business as a force of good. You could use business to solve some challenges. And when I was traveling a lot, in West Africa. And when I looked at the major challenge around me at that time, energy, access to electricity was a major problem. And so I wanted to be able to work in that space. I wanted to be able to just do something that would be impactful, that would make me feel that I was doing something
to help.
To help. And I was fortunate to come across the founders of Oolu, who had set up in several West African countries, but wanted to come to Nigeria, which is now their biggest market. And they didn't know how to. So I joined them and helped. I set up the business, they scaled the business to cover over 60% of the country. And that's how I got into the renewable energy space. It was, again, just time and chance, but it was a case of just talking to people and letting them know, I'm interested in the social impact. And I remember people would ask me, so what aspect do you want to go to? Finance? Do you want to go to manage a portfolio company? And I really didn't understand the space enough. I just wanted an opportunity. And in talking to people, I got to know about this opportunity, and decided to take advantage of it. And from there, RISE found me. And
do you have any advice for women looking to transition into clean energy?
Join RISE.
How did RISE find you? Were they working with a recruitment agency?
Yes.
Or
they're working with a headhunter. So the headhunter found me.
Nice.
Yes. So I mean, my advice is join RISE. Talk to people in the same space or with similar career paths. With interests that you have. And you can do that at RISE, I think you need to understand the opportunities. So if you want to transition into clean energy, you need to understand the opportunities within the space. And those opportunities are huge. And I think a lot of the time, sometimes people focus only on the opportunity as an employee. But there's just tremendous opportunity as a founder as well. which
Yeah.
a woman perspective and an excluded gender and community perspective, that is significant. We really would like to see a lot more women and excluded gender representation as founders within the renewable energy space. And the only way they're going to know about it is by finding out what those opportunities are.
Yeah.
Those opportunities go beyond technical, being
Yeah.
a developer or being a legal person or being a finance person. There are opportunities in terms of business operation. There are opportunities in terms of facility management, supply chain, insurance, land acquisition. The industry is maturing. And when an industry begins to mature, you have specialization and niche markets. So that in itself is an opportunity. And one thing I would like to say is the IRA gives us a 10-year runway, right? And anybody I've spoken to has probably heard my pitch, right? It gives us a 10-year runway. Now, what that means is if women and excluded genders and communities are not keen into this opportunity now,
Yeah.
in 10 years, the gap is going to be so wide, right?
Mhm.
It'll be harder to catch up. So I think for me, it's important to understand the opportunities, not just from an employee perspective, but from a founder perspective. What can you do to set up your own business and take advantage of that? The
I
other,
just love that so much for obvious reasons because I'm a founder of 2 businesses. But
yeah,
like, well, I guess if you count the babysitting dog walking companies I had as a child and 4 businesses. But I just love that you're the first person to actually say that. And for some reason, like it never occurred to me before.
yeah.
Like, you're totally right. Like, why, if you're struggling, and maybe not even struggling, but like if you want to get into the space, like build a company, start a company. Like why not? Like why do you
I
have to
know.
look at it just as an employee, you know?
So that is something that I think, obviously I'm biased because I come from for-profit and I've set up my own business, but
Yeah.
the, I mean, it's the opportunities are there. So why not take advantage of it, and just
Yeah.
pick a spot, test an idea,
Yeah.
to it,
Yeah.
to the logical conclusion. If it fails, learn from it and move on,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I was talking to someone I attended Infocast, and the person was saying, she had started a business, before the IRA, and it failed. But now with the IRA, a lot of
Mhm.
those ideas, that business idea, people are pursuing it now. So
And she's learned a lot.
and she's learned a lot. So if she decided to go back in, right,
Yeah.
she would be at such an advantage right now, taking advantage of the area and the opportunities there. So, just test your idea. If you're going to fail, fail quickly. Everybody fails, learn from it and just move on. And then
Yeah.
I'll say, connect to different places that can placement fora that can promote diversity and inclusion, such as RISE. If you want to get into the space, you need to be plugged into platforms and fora that include, that ensure there's diversity, there's inclusion. Get a mentor or coach. But I think one thing I also want to add is get a strong support network,
Yeah.
because it's tough, right?
A babysitter, a nanny.
Family, whichever. Just get a strong support network.
Yeah.
You need it, on certain tough days, you need it. So,
Do you know what's interesting? I was speaking to one of the candidates I placed last year, this lady, and she was talking about, she was new to the industry, and she was talking about how she's really created like this amazing network of women that she goes to a lot of conferences. So she's like an origination, so she goes to a lot of conferences. And she said, I've sort of created this network of like travel buddies from like other women and like other companies and stuff, so that they feel like they have some camaraderie when they go to these conferences together.
Mhm.
And I just thought that was such a touching a story, because it's just so nice to be able to walk into a room, and if you do see all a bunch of blue suits, you have some friends there that you've like made over the course of the the months at the different on the conference circuit, if you
Yeah.
like.
So yes, I mean it's really good. And again, I'm going to refer to Infocast, Rise, DNV, Rise, EDP, Alan Overy hosted a women executive women session at Infocast, and
Nice.
it was such, just the feedback from females that attended. First of all, it was amazing to just see a room full of just women.
Yeah.
Right. But it was just a breath of fresh air. And all of them said, I didn't even realize there were this many women,
Yeah.
that were at Infocast. And it was just good to connect and just talk to people. So you're right. You build those relationships, you build those connectors, and you stay in touch.
Just circling back to your time in Nigeria, can you tell us a little bit more about your prior work with Oolu Solar and what it was like to launch your solar business in Nigeria?
Well, it was backbreaking. It was it was very tough. But it was exciting. I think my personality is one that likes a good challenge.
Yeah,
And um, I think on tough days, when you focus on the impact that you're making, the fact that, with the products that you're putting in households, someone in a low income household would be able to have just the electricity for their child to read a book.
yeah,
It makes it worth it. Or the fact that you're employing people within the community to be
yeah,
either sales agents or after sales agents, then it means that you're providing employment. There's some statistic that shows one salary feeds up to 25 people, or
oh my goodness.
it's that it's impacted by 20. You have
Sure.
25 people that are impacted by it because you have a friend, you have a relative, you have
Yeah,
someone that connects to you. So just even knowing that, it makes it worth it. But the challenges are the same. The challenges of setting up a business, finding talent, dealing with regulation, ensuring that DEI J is enforced within those organizations.
right.
Those challenges are real, and they're cut across all countries.
Yeah.
They appear and manifest in different ways in every country,
Yeah.
but they're there. For me, for example, I would go to some meetings, and someone would say, okay, so when is your boss coming? Even though I was the one heading,
Ah,
even though I was the one heading the business,
I am the boss.
that, so when is your boss coming? So maybe when the guys come from HQ, they're
Ah,
so it manifests in different ways. But again, you just focus on why you're doing it, and just and just learning from each of those experiences and focusing on the goal.
yeah.
But it was tough, it was challenging, but we had a good team, we had a good crop of people that were passionate about the mission, and they really helped build that organization. So that's it.
So we talked a little bit about mentorship already. Did you have any mentors or sort of champions that helped you and accelerate your career?
Yes, I did, and I have to say I had a combination of female and male mentors,
Mhm.
not just female mentors. So,
I say
it,
all the
and
time.
yeah, and I think it's important to have both. So,
Totally agree.
so I had female mentors. In my time, I don't think it was as structured, which is
Mhm.
why what Rise does is so exciting to me. Because in my time, I made the effort to go tell someone, I want you to be my mentor.
Mhm.
I want to meet you on a monthly or quarterly basis, just to bounce ideas of, talk about strategic issues, talk about some of the decisions that I want to make, talk about some of the challenges and the struggles that I had. So that was really helpful. Females, mentors, they understood some of the personal challenges that I was having, and it
Yeah.
was just good to talk to someone that just sort of recognized, what you said. But I think if you're working within an organization or even outside, it's good to also have a male mentor or sponsor,
Mhm.
because one, you need to educate them,
Mhm.
about the realities of the of DEI J, so that they can also be ambassadors within their own organization or their own network of their own fairs, so that they can understand it as well. And they can also just defend you if you're working within an organization. That's
Totally.
and I think one thing that some of us women don't do very well sometimes, it's recognizing that and knowing that it's important to have women mentors, but it's also important to have male mentors, to use that even as a way to educate them of some of the realities and some of the challenges that we have, and some of the goals of DEIJ.
Yeah. I just really feel so strongly about this male mentorship piece because especially working in industries that are male dominated, like recruitment or clean energy or on and on and on, is that I've had such incredible male like advocates, just like you said, that have defended me. Like in a boardroom, I say something, oh, there Catherine goes complaining. A gentleman says something, great idea. And then one of the other gentlemen in the room will be like, Catherine just said that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, thank you.
Yes, I know. It's so interesting, and I think again tied to mentorship. While I was one of my mentors, I was talking to her, and I was just telling her I knew the organization she was working with, and I knew that her boss, the supervisor, didn't feel she was as engaged. And so I was just asking her to say, I don't think you're as engaged. She's like, well, I don't have anything to say. If he asked the question, then if somebody else has answered it. And I'm like, you need to understand how each organization works.
Yeah.
You need to understand that you need some advocate within that organization.
Yeah.
And be able to function within that organization, except you're going to set up your own company, and then you can create the kind of environment you want, which not why I push founders to be women
Exactly.
founders,
Yeah.
because I think with women founders or women-led organization, that whole issue of DEIJ I don't think you find better implementation of policies
Totally.
and stuff like that. So,
Yeah, it just naturally occurs, DEIJ, when you're a woman founder. Like, I'm generalizing, but I'm sure there's an exception, but it's what I've noticed working with female founders is they just naturally wind up being more diverse organizations. So just the last question I have for you is just circling back to RISE. Tell us how people can get involved.
So just show up at any of our events. Go to our websites. We have a calendar of events. Just show up. At the chapter level, we have over 40-something chapters across the country. Show up at any of the events. Reach out to us. We can tell you if there's a chapter closest to you.
Yeah.
And I think once you attend an event, you engage with the people, you will just be amazed. You'll be blown away, and you will want to participate and do more. We're also having some key events coming up. We have a career fair next week on the 23rd, virtual career fair. We're going to partner with RE Plus and ACP and be at those events in May, and I think in September. So those are some of the things that we're working on. And the reality is, once you just get involved with RISE at some level, you will just want more.
And the in-person, back to the in-person leadership forum in October.
Yes,
which will be the first in-person one in like 3 years, right?
Yes, we're looking forward to that. We have the in-person leadership forum coming up in October in Minneapolis, and it's going to be it's going to be so much fun. It's going to be great. Last time we had it, I think we had over, we're expecting close to 500 people. So that will be great, and I encourage everyone to try and join.
Well, thank you so much. And I wish you all the best in your new position. Go get them.
Thank you so much, Catherine, for having me.